So my name is Tracy Weber, and I am a board member of the Board of Directors for the Referral Center. I will also be the facilitator for the meeting today. Few housekeeping things. We are recording this presentation to be able to pass along to other people that weren't able to make it today, or even for other future fundraising efforts. Also, we are putting everyone on mute, and so that way we can just hear the presenter. There is a chat function within Zoom, so if you have questions throughout the presentation, go ahead and put them in there, and we will make sure that they are read and answered towards the end of the presentation. And I think that's all the housekeeping stuff I have, but when we started talking about doing this presentation, we thought it would be a good idea to involve some of the history of the referral center itself, as well as the locations it's been in. So the referral center was actually originally formed in 1974 under the name of Concerned DeWitt Citizens. It was a small group that brought about congregate meals to the elderly population in DeWitt. Soon then, an idea for a senior citizen drop-in center was formed. And the idea behind that was to bring fellowship and recreation to the seniors in the community. And that started in a doctor's office in the DeWitt Community Hospital. After those had been going for a little while, both of those actually moved to the United Methodist Church. So then in 1975, under the original board, the referral center was formed and it opened its doors. At that time, it was located in the old George Brown building, which is somewhere around where Subway's located today. At that time, they opened up the thrift store and the pantry. A few interesting facts about that first kind of little while of the referral center. On the first day, they only had 6 cans of fruits and vegetables. But within days, local churches and community members, as is our norm with our community, stepped up and helped by donating household items and food items to continue to help the referral center's efforts. In the first year, it was said that they averaged about 20 people a week that they assisted. Then in 1977, under the director Marge Secola, the referral center moved to the Eclipse Lumber building, which is where Mezcal sits today. And somewhere between 1978 and 1979, when Gene McManus was the director, they moved to what was Dr. Bennis's, I think it was a dentist office. Now, today, it is Natural Elements on 9th Street. Monica Miller was named director in 1981. Then we moved to what was known as the Little House. Although it's no longer standing, the spot that it was standing in is actually where another little house sits. It's actually the house that Santa Claus comes to visit during the holidays. In 1983, the city of DeWitt built a new fire station, leaving the old one empty. So Monica Miller, and the help of Leo Maynard, the mayor at that time, came to an agreement with the city for the referral center to rent the old fire station. And that became the newest location for the center. Before moving in, the community helped with the remodel. Al Sinkson drew up the plans. The Night Lions did all the carpentry work. The high school FFA painted and scrubbed floors, and Lauren Fahrenkrug laid the carpet. Opening day was July 16th, 1986. Here we are nearly 34 years later, and we are in the same building. I will turn it over to our first presenter, Greg Tigas. He is part of the committee to help fundraise for this building campaign.
Thanks, Tracy. Thanks for the history. It's always good to know where we came from and how we got here. This is our logo. It's a relatively new logo. You've maybe seen it before, but just to kind of talk through this real quick, you can see the hand holding a building, and it's for our building campaign, basically building hope and building community is the focus here. Next slide, please. Here again is the referral center's logo. I think this actually is on the building, if I'm not mistaken. And I won't read through everything here, but I do want to point out, again, the hand and the community, signifying the help that we give. And below you can see their services that are provided: referral services, crisis assistance, the donation center, the food pantry, and the public thrift store, which is also a form of income for us. Our vision, I think the current board worked on this vision, and I will read through this one just to kind of touch on the points that we focus on. It is a place where our community members can walk through the doors in their most vulnerable moments and be treated with dignity, compassion, and respect while receiving the support they need for a stronger future. Pretty simple, but that's the focus. This is a picture of the part of the committee, and COVID-19 came and kind of threw us a little curveball, threw everybody a curveball. But just to walk you through that, in January of this year, we kicked this campaign off to build a new building. We did really well the first couple of months, reached almost 25% of our goal, and then COVID-19 hit and affected all of us. At that point, we really needed to make a decision. Are we going to continue with the building fund right now, the campaign right now, or what actually was decided was to go back to our roots and take care of the people, those most in need. So through food donations and monetary assistance, volunteerism, the referral center was able to help hundreds of people during this unprecedented time. To give you a little bit of reference, on March 19th, we started curbside pickup for people that needed, because we knew people would need more help. And over 400 bags were given out between then and May 31st. Now, to give you a little bit of insight of what that means, or just how many bags that is, typically in a week, I believe we averaged 25 bags that were picked up. When COVID hit, that raised to about 67 bags per week. So it gives you an idea of the need. What we learned, big thing was something we already knew, but it really extenuated that our building just simply is a weak link and not big enough. Michelle and her staff do a great job there with what they have. As Tracy mentioned, we've been there for a long time and we've just simply outgrown it. The need is outgrown what we do. Our services have grown. So it really kind of made that sore thumb stick out, if you will. We didn't have enough space, and because of what we needed to do with food, part of the thrift store was taken over to help with the food. So we made it work, and now we're focusing on reopening. So we've gotten through part of that. It's time to, what a lot of discussion has gone in actually, when is it time to kick off this capital campaign again? Because if nothing else, we learned we definitely need this new building. So that's where we are today. We're starting again. We're kicking off the campaign, and that's what brings us to this point today. This is a map of where is the need. So first of all, this is the referral center boundaries, if you will, and it basically follows the Central DeWitt Community School District. You can see the numbers on the right. I'll let you read them for yourself. Everybody from the town of, picks their own town out and tends to look at the percentage on the right. I do want to point out, and I did not understand this to begin with, but we follow ALICE. That's an acronym that stands for Asset Limited Income Constraint Employed. So this is essentially the working poor. These are not people, I believe they have to provide their working, they have to provide their residents within these boundaries, and then they can get help. But this is not a handout. I think best way to look at it is a hand up. These are people who need a little extra help at certain times of their life. And that's essentially what the referral center is about. But 36% right here in DeWitt, which may or may not be surprising. It was to me. These numbers really speak for themselves. I'm not gonna talk through them, but the main thing I want you to grab from this slide, if you would, if on the left, you can see the number of people served from 2016 each year till 2019. We don't have 2020 numbers yet, obviously. You can see a steady, gradual, growing need, a number of people served. And that's mirrored on the right side. The monetary assistance provided is also obviously growing. 2019 numbers were just added recently, but $69,000 worth of assistance that is provided in 2019 through the referral center. So who do we serve exactly? You take a step back from this, and it makes good sense, but you look at the people in transition stages in their lives. This might be somebody who's lost a job. This might be somebody who has gone through a divorce recently, single parent now trying to carry the full load themselves. Any kind of transitions can fall into that first bullet point. Obviously the working poor. So these are all people who are working, trying to hold down a job. Maybe they got a job that's at minimum wage, or maybe they've got two incomes at minimum wage, depending on the number of children in the home. It may not be enough to fit their basic needs. families with children, school-age children. We do a lot of help with kids in school, as you'll see here in a later slide. And then the elderly, obviously, is a portion of people in our community who are on fixed incomes. And depending on where they are, they may or may not be able to take care of prescriptions and basic needs. So there's five basic areas of people that we serve. This is a snapshot. Again, I'm not going to read through this, but you can see the number of families. You can see the extra meals and such. Just a few things to point out. There was a Christmas program, I think, that Dean and Lori Holtz headed up. That was last year, was very successful. Clothing with the winter coats, boots, hats, gloves. Oops, there we go. Cartons of milk for kids, school supplies, and then also the summer lunch program. We're working with several churches, but making sure that those kids during the summer, and COVID hit us even harder, that simply did not have a meal or may not have had the sufficient food to take care of themselves. So it's another program that's through the Referral Center. So the numbers here in a pie chart, some people like pie charts, some people like bar graphs, but I think the point to take away from this one, folks, is if you look at 3/4 of this is in 3 areas, and they're very basic areas. So rent and housing, utilities, and food and milk. You know, there's obviously a few other things where we've been able to help people out, but almost 3/4 of the money that comes in and goes out through the Referral Center is for those 3 areas. So some pretty basic needs when you're talking about housing, utilities, and food and milk. So with that, I think it's Mr. Steve Thayer's turn. He'll take you through the second half. Thank you for your attention.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Steve Thayer. I'm a resident of the school district, and I'm not on the board of directors for the Referral Center, but like Greg, I am involved in the fundraising effort. And I'm a citizen who believes in the mission of the Referral Center and want to do what I can to help keep it viable and have it there for years to come to help the needs of our community. As you look at this slide up on top, it talks about the gaps that we have in current building. Greg covered some of that. Unsafe food storage areas. Given the limitations we have there, we can't buy discounted or get free food from several of the food banks in like Clinton or the Quad Cities. And so we just don't have the room to bring that food in. Michelle, our director, she needs privacy because there's some real sensitive conversations with some people, and she needs more privacy than she has now. It's an aging building. I don't know if you've been there. For those of you that have been there, you know exactly what I'm talking about as far as this aging building. If you haven't been there, go take a look at it. You'll not be able to get in there right now because they're closed to the public in essence, but at some point, go in that building and just see what I'm talking about when we say that the building is in need of repair. Lack of space, that is so obvious when you go in that building. There's just a severe lack of space for the volunteers and for even offering the services that we need to offer. Lack of space for storage of furniture and appliances. That would help our Referral Center out, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. And our current one does not have all the access it needs for people with disabilities. So that is the gaps. We're thinking this new building will alleviate or possibly eliminate all of those gaps. And that's why, one of the reasons why we're looking at this fundraising campaign. So you see the schematic of the new building. What sticks out immediately is the large food pantry and thrift store areas. You look in the food pantry over on the left-hand side, there's a cooler and a freezer unit, so we can buy those or take donations of perishable goods like from grocery stores and things like that, and frozen goods. We'll have that capacity to do that. The food pantry and the thrift store each have their own drop-off zone. You'll see there on each side of the receiving area where you can back a truck or a vehicle into those areas, have the vehicles unloaded and go right to the storage where they need to go. Privacy, there's, as you notice going in the front entrance, there's 2 offices there that will give Michelle the privacy she needs to visit with our clients. The larger thrift store will offer an opportunity to take as donations furniture and appliances. Now, historically, the thrift store, the income from that thrift store has provided for about 25% of the total budget of the annual budget of the referral center. We're pretty positive that with the ability to handle these larger items and sell those, we will generate more income, and it can be a larger percentage coming from our own devices, given that thrift store and its ability to hold more things. There's also a small multi-purpose room and a kitchen, and up in the upper right-hand corner, you will see a laundry area. Some of the clothes sometimes that come into the referral center need a little attention. And in the past, Michelle has taken those things home with her and done them herself in her own laundry room. And so that probably needs to change. And so we're going to have laundry facilities to clean things up there right at the center. The total square footage of this building, about 9,000 square feet, which doubles, a little more than doubles the space we have right now. So that's the footprint of the building. The location of the building, 918 14th Avenue, and that doesn't probably mean anything to anybody, but excuse me, if you look at the picture on the left, you'll see the referral center lot, and that front or the bottom of that lot faces 14th Avenue. It is right behind Peterson Hagee Furniture. And then there's a long narrow strip back behind the Dairy Queen, the new Dairy Queen. But the building will sit on that front part where it says referral center lot. The building will fit there very comfortably. There'll be room for parking and bringing trucks and vehicles in to unload. And the frontal view of the referral center, you'll notice the doors, the main entrance in the middle, and the two receiving areas, one for the food pantry, one for the thrift store. Excuse me. That number kind of sticks out, and about $1 million, including the land, is what we estimate the cost. Now, I want to explain that we had a committee of local contractors, lenders, building industry people take a look at this and all the needs, and we told them we don't want a Taj Mahal, but we want something functional and safe and something that will last a long time. So they came up with this figure, and this figure is without taking any in-kind labor donations or material donations. If we have to pay for everything, absolutely everything, this is the number that we think it'll be. Now the land, the referral center board has already purchased the land. So, that was about $90,000 for that lot, which they felt was a nice deal given the size of the lot. So they jumped on it and purchased it. So if you look at that, the cost of the building is about $900,000, which 9,000 square feet, very simple. It's only about $100 a square foot. So I don't think that indicates that we're doing any type of Taj Mahal or putting in that building something we really don't need. I talked about Michelle. Here she is. If you've never met her, you need to make a point to meet Michelle. She is just a delightful person. She's compassionate, but yet she knows that the rules have to be followed, and she is just the perfect person for her job. And she's made some comments. She is so proud of this community. She says, this community takes care of our people. We serve the working poor and those on fixed incomes. Our thrift store supports 25%. Many people fall into bad times and need help to get out. Michelle will tell you that a lot of the people we help are just one-time clients of the referral center. They just need a little helping hand, a little boost to get them back on their feet. And the thing, again, that she is proud of, whenever she has put the word out, this community has responded. And that says a lot for the community, and I think it says something for Michelle too, the way she approaches people and the way she deals with people. So go meet her if you haven't met her. How can you help? We have a giving chart here, and we will be posting that for people that want their names on a plaque like this. But how you can help is, obviously, you can write a check, one-time donation. You can write a check to us. That check to be made out to concerned DeWitt citizens. You can make a 3-year pledge. pledge it over 3 years. You can set up an automatic withdrawal from your checking or savings account to have it withdrawn every month to meet your 3-year pledge. Appreciated stock. The stock market has come back from its lows now. And I know some of you probably have some stock that you've held on for a long time and probably just don't want to sell it because you don't want to pay capital gains on it. Well, if you want to donate that stock to the referral center, you won't have to pay capital gains on it. And we've got a system in place to be able to facilitate that if you wish. Some of you older folks like myself, you have IRAs and you're required to take a distribution every year. You're taxed on that distribution if it goes to you. You can, in fact, take a portion or all of that distribution, send it right to the referral center. You won't be taxed on it. The thing I want to tell you, I am not a financial advisor. So you do need to talk to your financial advisor or your tax attorney to see which many of vehicles that you can use to donate to the fitness center, or not the fitness center, the referral center, and have them as a tax advantage for you. If you're a farmer, you can donate grain. Take the grain in the elevator, sell it in the name of the referral center, and they'll send the check right to us. And so that's another way. So the 3-year pledge, different vehicles to use. We need your help. Like Greg, I want to thank you for your time today and your support of the referral center, not only the building program, but all the support you've given in the past years. I want to tell a story about Randy's Food Market. They have a promotion where you round up. If you go in and buy some and it's $12.30, you can round it up to $13. So they have that roundup, and they had a roundup for the buildings, the referral center building fund a couple weeks ago. And they wrote us a check for almost $2,800. And that's just from people rounding up their grocery bill to the next dollar. And Thomas, the manager there, told me it's a new record. The referral center building fund set a new record for the roundup function in their store. So that tells me that this project is in the hearts of people in this school district. So you can help us with your donation or your pledge. You can help us by networking with friends and telling them our story and referring them to board members or myself or people that are working on this project. And as you can see, we were 25% towards our goal. And that was the first couple months. And now, since we started up again, we've gained a little more, and we have more than $272,000 that have been raised from local donors. So bottom line, there is a need. I think we're pretty much all aware of that. We are a caring community. Michelle will tell you that time after time. So investment in this project will be returned to our community many times over. So please help if you can. Thank you for your time today, and thank you for your caring for the referral center.
Thank you so much, Greg and Steve. I currently don't have any questions in the chat. If anybody does have a question, please feel free. You can unmute yourself, or you can type it in the chat and I can read it for you. We just want to make sure that we give you all the information that you are looking for. If you need more information or don't feel comfortable making the question on the presentation right now, you can definitely reach out to the person that invited you, or you all have my email address. I'm the one that sent you the Zoom instructions. You can as well email me. So does anyone have any questions they would like to ask?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Go ahead, Kathy.
So I just briefly talked to Scott Jansen about it. So it was just very brief, but because I was kind of questioning, I thought 900,000 seemed kind of like a lot for the building, you know, and even thinking $100 per square foot or whatever. But that's, what is, I mean, like, isn't building a house is like way less than that, isn't it? Per square foot, or is that not true?
I think the latest figures that you'll find on building houses, new houses, probably between $150 and $175 a square foot.
Oh, it is. Okay. I had no idea. I just thought,
No,
oh,
that's a good
like
question,
kind of
though.
a lot, but it's like, but you know, he also did say, like what you said, Steve, is that, you know, we may get people to donate or maybe give us a discount on maybe the concrete or on the building supplies, and things like that aren't taken into consideration in that number. That's if we had to pay for every nickel.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. What about, and I don't know if you mentioned this or not, do we have any grants or anything like that coming towards that number?
Yeah,
So-
we will be pursuing grants. Some of the people that, some of the entities that offer grants kind of want you to have a base already
Right.
ready before we go to them.
Okay.
We're at that for some of the grants we're looking at, but we
Good.
need to get a little bit more and make our case look a little bit better when we go to those people. And for instance, and I can't remember the acronym, but it's the riverboat money. Or the,
Yes, that's what I was just gonna say, the riverboat people. I don't remember who that is.
we've
either,
talked to
but-
them. Yeah, we've talked to them, but right now, I mean, they've kind of shut their entity down a little bit because
Right, of
the
course.
sea lakes weren't open. So
Yeah,
we do have them in mind and some other the other entities, and we have a young lady that's working on those, and she's an expert at writing grants. So
great.
we are considering those. Answer to a short question.
Okay. Because I do know it's gonna be a little more difficult even to get grants right now because of the COVID, you know, because everybody's hurting. And so what is the goal? When did you say we want to get the building done by? I mean, what's kind of the rough estimate for that?
Go ahead, Tracy.
Sure. So our goal is to raise about 3/4 of it by the end of this year.
Uh-huh.
Our original goal was to start building or break ground in the spring of 2021. Not so sure that will happen, but we're still hoping that that will happen. So this is a really big push. And again, once those grants start accepting again and we're able to present again, we'll start going at those as well.
Okay. I mean, so if we were to break ground, you said spring of 2021, when would it be done? Like, how long does it take to do the building? Like 6 months or a year?
I would definitely say it would be done within that year. You know,
Okay.
obviously there's circumstances that could slow that down.
Sure.
But typically I would say, you know, by the fall of that year, then we would look to have that up and going.
Okay.
Great question.
Interesting,
Thank you,
interesting.
Kathy.
That's fine.
I do have one here in the chat, and it is asking, are these all donations or how does that work? I'm guessing they mean the total of what we've raised so far.
I think that, well, they probably are, aren't they? I mean, we don't have any in-kind numbers in there yet, do we?
No, we don't. We don't have any grants yet either. We have not gotten any grants yet. So it is all either money that has already been given to us or pledged to us. So a good question as well. Do we have any other questions? Like I said, if you do have any questions, reach out to myself. You can reach out to Steve or Greg, anybody, if you know anybody on the board, or the person that I invited you to had spoke to you about the Zoom, please feel free to reach out to them as well. We will likely send out the recording of this to this group and to the other ones that showed interest that possibly couldn't make it today. So please feel free to share this with friends or anybody that you know that wanted to come that wasn't able to make it. We'll definitely be sharing that as well. So I'll send that via email.
And also pledge forms, if you want to do the pledge route, the people that Tracy just mentioned, any of the board members, Greg or I, anybody on the committee at the referral center, those pledge forms are available. And on the back of those, if you want to take do an automatic withdrawal out of your checking or savings, there's a way to set that up on the back of that form too. So, you know, just ask around. We'll get you the forms if that's what you.
All right, well, if we don't have any more questions, we'll go ahead and end the presentation. And I as well want to thank everybody for joining. We appreciate the opportunity.
Have a good week, everyone.